if I may come in here, a lot of people have cited the Interpretations Act, you know, and they have said that this is very clear, and the Interpretations Act is very clear as to where to apply, you know, where the Interpretations Act applies. It says it's an act to provide for the construction and interpretation of acts of the National Assembly and certain other instruments, and for purposes connected here. So people have referred to this, even though it was made in 1964, as, you know, one of the things to interpret the CBN Act of 2007. Now, some people argue that the CBN Act, the appointment of the CBN governor, or the CBN Act itself, gives an enormous autonomy to the CBN, and it's for a purpose that, you know, you need 2/3 majority of the Senate to appoint him. And you also, it's one of the very rare cases where you need the Senate as well to agree in his removal. And that, you know, that is one of the reasons why they're not quite sure whether or not the president has the powers to suspend him, because they are saying that executive interference is one of the things they didn't want in the CBN. So how sure or how certain is the position of the CBN governor who can be suspended at the whim of the president?
You see, Section 8 of the CBN Act, subsection 1, deals with the appointment of the CBN governor. Is that not so? Now, in other words, the president, it says the president shall appoint the CBN governor, subject to the, you know, the confirmation of the Senate. But unless and until the CBN Act is amended, the president remains the appointer of whoever is CBN governor. That should be very clear to start with. When you come to removal, you go to Section 11, which we are talking about. Now, he can be removed. Of course, it can be. He is not irremovable. He can be removed.
Of course.
So how do you remove him? Now, how do you make? At what point do you make representations to the Senate to say this man should be removed? Certain things have to happen. He must have committed certain acts of gross misconduct, of serious misconduct, if you like, now, and which must have been proved to be so. Then when the president is satisfied that, yes, these acts amount to gross misconduct or serious misconduct on the part of this governor, then he now makes a recommendation to the Senate for his removal. But before, you don't just go to the Senate like that and then say, oh, I've heard that, you know, I've heard that my governor, this governor has gone from the sublime to the ridiculous, and therefore I want you to remove him. Certain things must take place first.
Mr. Kiri, do you think,
yes,
because you have said that the report of the FRSA is grave enough, yes, to warrant his suspension,
yes,
don't you think that is also grave enough to warrant his removal? Because, I mean,
yes,
these allegations have been put before Nigerians as the reason why an act or an action as grave as suspension of the CBN governor. I don't know if we've ever heard of it before. I mean, don't you think that that same action could have been put before the Senate and his removal, you know, will be guaranteed?
Now, how do you mean? You mean that the moment the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria leveled allegations against the governor, then he should be removed?
Oh no, you yourself have admitted that there have been queries issued. I mean, from what we also heard in the there have been two different queries, yes. And don't you think that the responses of these queries,
yes, and
also, you know, the allegations themselves, if put before the Senate, could be weighty enough to warrant his removal?
Well, you see, the president, I'm sure the president wants to be a bit more careful. Just because the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria has made certain allegations against the governor, did not appear to him enough to justify his recommendation to the Senate for his removal. He wants the matter looked into a bit more meticulously and then make sure that when he goes to the Senate, he will be able to answer questions as to why he wants this man removed. So he said, okay, let there be a panel to look into these allegations leveled against him by the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, and then when the report comes, I will be able to table this one before the Senate, and that's what is happening now. But before you look into such allegations, which will produce a report, that will not be tabled before the Senate, you know, the man has to go. He has to be on suspension because he cannot sit behind his table while investigations are coming up, because like I told you, such a person will obstruct the course of investigation. So he has to go while the panel that is set up looks into the...
Kiri, what exactly do you think they will be investigating? Because from what we see here, the allegations against the CBN governor are pretty clear. I mean, in terms
they are very clear and grave enough.
What do you think they're going to be investigating? What exactly are they supposed to be looking for?
Good. What would they be looking for? For example, the NIT, the Nigerian Security Minting and Printing Company of Nigeria. All right. Now that one is a subsidiary of the CBN. Now, in the accounts of that company, it stated that they made 29 billion naira turnover. The turnover was 29 billion naira, whereas it is about 60 billion naira, or 40 or 60 billion naira. All right. So that is number one. Another one is the monies invested in an Islamic bank in Malaysia, which is non-interest yielding. Who permitted that? Don't forget that the returns must be sent to the president on a monthly basis, on an annual basis. So has he, and then under section 50, subsection 3, paragraph D, all these returns must be made on a monthly basis, on an annual basis, and they must be referred to the president. Have some things been done over this period? Because that, you know, failure to do all these things will amount to a violation of the same law that brought you into office. Look at the donation we're talking about.
Yeah, but these donations,
yes,
part of what we also heard is,
yes,
they're not done unilaterally. He resorts to the board.
The board, yes, no, but it also
says he resorts to the president before these donations are made. And yesterday you heard the president say he gave provisional clearance for, is it the 2013 audited report of the CBN?
The audited report of 2012, for example, was not signed by Ernst and Young, the auditors of the CBN.
So why
because they saw so many inaccuracies and so on and so forth. So when it was sent to the president was surprised that why did you not sign? And then they told the president the reasons why.
So why then the provisional clearance for the 2013 audited account?
The provisional clearance?
For the 2013 audited account?
Well, maybe, you know, so that things can move on. There are
issues with the 2013.
Well, so that, you know, because the president, I mean, the CBN should not stagnate. So that the CBN does not stagnate. So maybe that's why it's just a provisional approval, pending the outcome of the investigations.
Mr. Kiri,
yes.
I just want to quickly ask you, though, don't you see... do you see a problem with the timing at all? Because I was just wondering if you're worried about what has happened with the revelations, and then, you know, what happened with the probe, with the hearing at the Senate, and then we get to hear of a suspension.
Yes.
You know, do you have a problem with the timing?
You see, that is the thing. That good question. You see, but the thing is, that's what we've been hearing all over the place, and it's a pity. In Nigeria, we have a penchant for politicizing everything, looking at everything in smoky glasses. That's the problem. I mean, it's just like the national conference that, oh, why this time? And so if President Jonathan had started this national conference issue in 2011, shortly after his swearing in, or in 2012, they would have said, is it why you came? What are the dividends of democracy that you wanted? Why this time you were just sworn in? Now he's coming out, they say it's too late, it's too close to... So it's this same thing. When would it be right? Would it have been right? When would it have been right for the president
or this matter to... I'm asking you personal opinion if you have a problem with it.
Somewhere...
And do you think that is going to affect the investigations?
Which investigation? Of the $20 billion allegation in the National Assembly? No, I mean, against the NNPC? How should it affect that one? That one is going on, while the other one is going on.
What if the acting CBN governor says, look, I don't see any problem with books here about...
Well, you see, people are probing into this. People are probing into the allegations. So if the CBN, all the books will be made available to the investigators. So there should be no problem about that at all. I just see this one as a fig leaf, a veneer to cover up certain things so that you can have excuses. You see, because this person is so political. Of all the CBN governors that have been appointed since I was born, I have never seen any person that is so political like this one.
Even you're using the word political,
yes.
Maybe perhaps you wanted to say brilliant or intelligent.
Well, I give that to him, I must say. Because when I listen to him, I listen to a very brilliant person that has something upstairs. I think he is one person that I think knows something about everything and everything about something. We will give that to him. As for intelligence, no problem. His scholarly approach to certain things, I give that to him as well. But there's what we call prostitution of scholarship. You understand? There's what we call prostitution of scholarship. You know it very well, yeah, but when you prostitute it, then it becomes bad, it becomes negative, it becomes dysfunctional. Now, he's too political for my liking. Now, everything, what I mean is political, maybe I should just explain that.
Just hold your thoughts.
Yes.
We'll come back. We just need to quickly flip over to the headline news where Adeshawa Joshua is standing by with that one, and then we'll take it from there. Go ahead, Adeshawa.
Oh, thank you, Chamberlain.